Oh boy, Mighty Number 9. Ever since it came out back in June, this game quickly became the butt of almost everyone's jokes. Which is surprising because I remember when it was first announced and how excited people got. Keiji Inafune himself creating a spiritual successor to the original Mega Man games? What's not to get excited about? Even as a non-Mega Man fan, I was pretty excited about it. I didn't want to be one of those people who hates it just because it's cool to hate a game that I haven't even played. But when I finally got the chance to play it, I took it just to see what exactly makes it the disaster everyone was making it out to be. When I got started, I admit, it didn't seem that bad. The controls were responsive, and it was kinda fun to dash into enemies to take their energy. But then I soon got an idea of what I was in for. Mighty Number 9 is, at its core, a classic Mega Man game. You've got your running and shooting, 8 robot bosses to fight and take their abilities once you beat them. Beck himself even has a dashing slide like in the Mega Man X series. But if they were gonna make this like a classic Mega Man game and give him the slide, why couldn't they give him the charge shot? Would have given his moveset a little more variety and make killing enemies a bit more satisfying. Then again, with the way this game is designed, it's kind of hard to be satisfied with anything. Mighty Number 9 still has this thing where I can't really beat a certain boss unless I have a weapon related to its weakness given to me by another boss, which I also have to beat by getting a certain weapon from another boss. It's just tiresome. I didn't like that in the original Mega Man games, and I certainly don't like it here. It retains that NES-style difficulty that, unless it's Contra or Castlevania, I'm not a fan of. You know, the kind of hard that's entirely based on things like cheap enemy placement, instant kill moments, and invincibility frames that don't protect you from spikes. It's not as bad as AVGN Adventures, which relied way too much on repeating obstacles, but I can't even tell you how many times I kept repeating to myself, we got rid of these tropes for a reason. Yeah, it probably just depends on how good I am at classic Mega Man. Well, I'm not the least bit good at classic Mega Man, but that doesn't excuse how archaic this game can get. I went into the second stage with 9 lives while gathering extra lives on the way, and I ended up losing every single one of them. I don't mind if a game is hard, but this is the wrong kind of hard for a game in 2016 to be. It also doesn't help that the frame rate is horrifically inconsistent. My computer isn't exactly a powerhouse, but even at the lowest possible settings, Mighty Number 9 still had me fighting hard against the constant change from 60 to 12 frames per second. This right here has been responsible for several deaths, and I don't care if it was something that happened in development, it's still terrible. For the presentation as a whole, it's just kinda lame. It's bright and colorful, but watching cutscenes with dialogue playing over static 3D models expressing little to no emotion gets really boring. Some of the voice acting isn't that bad, but it's not very good either, specifically Dr. Sandra and Call. Even Yuri Lowenthal as Beck is remarkably bland. Frankly, this just shocked me. He's a great actor, but I don't see a character here, I just see a performance. At least he makes Beck sound more like a man than Mega Man does sometimes. Most people's opinions seem to stem from how bad the voice acting is, how run-of-the-mill and average it plays, and especially how awkward and clumsy its development and marketing campaign turned out to be. But my personal distaste for it is based on how much it reuses elements and ideas that have been dated for several decades. It tries to be a throwback to the original Mega Man formula, but it doesn't update or remove any of the problems that the original Mega Man formula was plagued with, such as its cheap enemy placement and its insane amount of trial and error. For newcomers, it's too ancient in its design choices to be considered fun or provide much of a comfortable experience. For Mega Man fans, it's easy to get into and at the very least playable, but it fails at reminding them why they loved the Blue Bomber to begin with and won't convince them to stick with this new IP. So it manages to be seen as mediocre on both sides of the spectrum, and that's quite an impressive feat if you ask me. I haven't even beaten the game, I've only played the first 3 stages and beaten the 3rd, but this game really doesn't do anything for me. In the end, despite how much I hate those NES tropes, Mighty Number 9 isn't bad, just confused. I really wanted to be part of the minority of people who actually really like this game. It wants to be like classic Mega Man, but it also wants to appeal to a new audience, and as a result, it comes off as cluttered, misguided, and nothing spectacular. What exactly happened during its development that caused everything to go completely wrong, I can't explain. But one thing's for sure, 3 years in the making, at a cost of $4 million, and ultimately, it's disappointing. What, you thought I was going to do something silly at the end, like do a funny voice or whatever? Well, no, I got nothing else. This game's just... ugh.